Well, of course, many eyes this weekend will be on the FFA Cup final being played between Melbourne Victory and Central Coast Mariners on Saturday night. But there are still a number of really fascinating A-League men's fixtures taking place this weekend, and we're going to dive into them right now. My predictions, my preview heading into this weekend of A-League men's football. Let's jump straight into it. Thursday night fixture this week. Newcastle Jets once again back in action. Good to see the Jets back after a little while off, of course. They did lose last week to Adelaide United 2-1. That late comeback from the Reds. They're taking on Brisbane Roar. Now, this should be interesting because Brisbane have been struggling a little bit as well this season. You can see Jets currently sit bottom of the ladder, still just with the one win, 2 draws and 3 losses. They still have a lot of games to play. Brisbane Roar, 9th place, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 4 losses. Interestingly enough, Newcastle haven't defeated Brisbane Roar at home since 2018. It's been a long time coming. It's a really fascinating history that these teams have. It really seems to be, entertaining clashes every time that these two sides face each other. There's a key man that we have to talk about playing in this game. He's one of the in-form strikers in the A-League at the moment, and to be honest, one of the best imports the A-League has seen this season in particular, and that's Jet striker Beckham Mickeldacci. The Georgian is in fantastic form. 5 goals in his last 6 games. Scored that goal during last week's game against Adelaide United where they did go down. But Raw, they're coming off their biggest win of the season. They picked up a 3-0 victory at home to Western Sydney Wanderers, which, look, was a very impressive win. And what we noticed from Brisbane Raw was, well, Mile Josnic, now 3 goals in 2 games. What we noticed, I think, from Brisbane Raw is that they're starting to now, I think, learn to live without a striker. And for the last 2 games now, we've seen Jay O'Shea and Ramat Akbari, I think it was Scott McDonald, former Raw player, who mentioned it in commentary. Both of those players were the 2 defensive midfielders for Brisbane Raw last season. And the 2 are playing as strikers up the top. And, whether it is, the likes of Alex Parsons, Henry Hoare, Nikola Miluznic coming off the wings in the wide positions as well. So it's a fascinating setup that Brisbane Raw have now. And it did work for them against Western Sydney Wanderers. To be fair, the Wanderers did absolutely underperform in that game. But still, Brisbane have... I think are starting, especially with the individual quality that the likes of O'Shea and Akbari have. They have the potential to tear teams apart, and especially Mile Josnic, who, as we mentioned here, 3 goals in his last 2 games, building some good form. This game should be interesting. It's a tricky one to predict. I'm just going to say a 1-1 draw. Yes, Raw had 2 wins in the last 3 games, but Newcastle Jets, I still think back to that really impressive 4-0 victory against Wellington Phoenix with the players that they have. Olivia Bamal, Daniel Pena, Beckham Mickeldacci. These guys have all shown us, they've all looked very impressive in their early games in the A-League. If they switch on, this could well be a win for Newcastle Jets. But at the moment, I'm just going to play it safe and say a 2-2 draw in this game. Let's keep shuffling on to some of the other games. On Friday, Adelaide United, Sydney FC. Again, another really fascinating clash. Adelaide currently sitting 3rd on the ladder. They've been building some good form lately. 3 wins, 5 draws, 2 losses. Sydney FC still in the top 6 there after that win last week against the Mariners. 3 wins, 4 draws, and 3 losses. And of course, this is the first meeting since last season's semi-final, where Sydney FC defeated Adelaide United 2-1 at that game down in Cogra last season. Adelaide United, this is incredible. Adelaide United have only won 1 out of the last 9 home games against Sydney FC. So at home against Sydney FC, they tend to struggle. Last time, Sydney smashed 4 goals past them at Coopers Stadium. So that's a statistic that Carl Vert, Adelaide coach, will want to be overturning. It's not a very impressive stat from a Reds point of view as well. Adelaide are 5 games undefeated in the A-League. That is the promising thing for Reds fans heading into this game, knowing that Adelaide United, I mean, when you look at the play, one of the key things that we've seen from their play is that they never say die in games, and we learned that last week against Newcastle Jets. We've learned it twice this season as they drew to Melbourne City twice. So even if they are down, even if Sydney FC do find themselves in a 2-0, 2-1 lead in the second half, Adelaide are going to come back at you. That we absolutely know that for sure. Sydney FC, of course, did that win against Mariners last week, snap that 4-game winless streak. They've just been really up and down at the moment, Sydney FC. Of course, had that impressive 2-2 draw with Melbourne Victory previously as well in the Big Blue game. But both teams could potentially have Socceroos back, which is worth noting. Of course, Craig Goodwin, one of Adelaide's most important players. And for Sydney FC, the likes of Andrew Redmayne and Ryan Grant coming back. Of course, Joel King scoring that move to Europe. Fantastic move for Joel King. But potentially, having their star goalkeeper Andrew Redmayne and right back as well Ryan Grant, that's a big plus for the Sky Blues. And highly likely that this is Stefan Mork's last game. Stefan Mork, I mean, it's been the It's the worst kept secret. It has been publicised that Stefan Mork is on the verge of a move to, I believe it is Japan. This was revealed weeks ago now, and it seems like it's just keep going on and on. They're waiting to get the move finalised, all the clearances and all that. So this could be the captain's last game for Adelaide United. And we are hearing that there are potentially players lining up to replace him. So we imagine that'll be announced in coming days. My prediction for this one, going to say 3-2 to Adelaide. Just their ability to come back, as I mentioned earlier, and against the Sydney FC side, who still aren't quite performing at their best. Yes, they did, get 3 goals past the Mariners last week, and Anthony Caceres has been very good. Cam Sober's always dangerous. Adelaide, man, they're a different team, and as I mentioned, you just never write them off. And I've got a feeling if they can score first in this game and just stay ahead, I reckon it could be a high-scoring affair. Sydney will always find a way to grab a goal, but Adelaide, I reckon we'll come back late, score a late winner. Maybe Ibusuki again, who has already got 2 goals in 3 games, the Japanese striker. In the next game, we've got a Saturday fixture. This is kicking off just prior to the FFA Cup final on Saturday. Western Sydney Wanderers taking Western United. Mark Rudan facing his former employers. Wanderers won both meetings between the two teams last year, interestingly enough. Both teams played midweek fixtures. Of course, that's worth noting. Western Sydney Wanderers picking up that 1-0 win against Perth Glory, and Western United drawing away 2-2 to Macarthur. That was a really entertaining game, that one. And of course, Western Sydney Wanderers head coach is Mark Rudan's second game in charge, and of course mentioned there he's facing his former club. But what we noticed, we should touch on it, the midweek game, because it was a different Western Sydney Wanderers that we saw play out in that game. It was just a 1-0 win, but there was a lot more. Just the mentality from the players seemed a lot more positive. Their play was a lot more proactive. I thought Aquilina from right back was very good. Jack Rodwell, standout, man of the match for sure. He was playing in sort of a number 10 role in sort of a 4-2-3-1 formation. And he's got freedom now. He's got freedom now to charge forward and attack. And he obviously got the goal against Perth Glory, and I think he's really going to flourish in that role. He's wearing the captain's armband at the moment in place of Reece Williams, and as you can see here, the last point, temporary captain Jack Rodwell building some good form. My prediction, I'm going to say 1-1. Now, Wanderers, yes, could win this game, but Western United, man, so stubborn, and they currently sit top of the ladder. They're first. 5 wins, 1 draw, and 3 losses. So yeah, they did lose like the last week against Wellington Phoenix. But the draw here against Macarthur, and then last weekend as well, they managed a 1-0 win, gritty 1-0 win against Melbourne City as well. So Western United are going to be very stubborn against this Western Sydney Wanderers side. So the likes of Hamed, Ogawa, if Troisi's starting again, Rodwell, they're really going to have to be linking up and playing very well if they're going to break down the likes of Tomoki Imai, Leo Lacroix at the back for Western United. Let's keep shuffling on though. We've got some more Sunday games to talk about. Wellington taking on Macarthur. It is classified as a Wellington home game, but it is being played down there at Campbelltown Stadium. Wellington still struggling at the moment, 11th place on the ladder. Macarthur, 4th place. Of course, got back in action last time around against Western United on Tuesday night, last Tuesday. The last meeting was in round 1. They played the opening weekend where it was a 1-1 draw up there in Newcastle. Wellington's last match, of course, was that Cup semi-final loss, that 4-1 loss where they just fell apart completely to Melbourne victory down there in Geelong. Ulysses De Villa, former Phoenix player, could make his starting return against his former side. We did see the Mexican make a bench appearance against Western United. Had a fantastic impact. Just his ability on the ball, his ability to create space, bring his teammates in. He's such a weapon. He's on his day. He's one of the best players in the league. That's why he won the Johnny Warren Medal last season, so he could unlock his former side's defense. The Bulls have failed to win their last 2 home games. This is a point worth pointing out. The 2-2 draw to Western United, they almost lost that game. They had to come back from 2-0 down and lost the previous game at home to Sydney FC 3-0. So, Ante Milicic will be hoping for a stronger defensive display. They have been stronger defensively in previous games this season. So, interesting point to keep an eye on there. But my score prediction, I think Macarthur, yes, they are the home team, and the Cowbells, I reckon, will get them across in this game 2-1. Again, Wellington, another one of those teams where, they could get the result. They did it. I was surprised when they managed to beat Western United, and they could do it against Macarthur FC. Sandoval has looked impressive. David Ball, Gary Hooper. If these star players again get clicking, it could well be a win for the Phoenix. But with Macarthur, with the danger they possess and playing at home once again, I think they will just get across in a 2-1 victory in the final game this weekend. We're going to talk about Melbourne City taking on Perth Glory. Melbourne City 5th on the ladder. Perth Glory down in 10th, and again, COVID's hit them, some COVID cases recently in the Perth Glory camp, unfortunately. These teams have met previously this season. You can see here. Round 4, City won 1-0 in that game. Taiwan overall. City were dominating most of the play. Perth Glory struggling to create chances, but it was a stubborn Perth Glory defence in that game, I remember. Worth pointing out, of course, Socceroos, Matt Leckie, Jamie McLaren, Connor Metcalf, and Mark Rudan all could well return and maybe shifted straight back into the starting lineup for the reigning champions, which is going to be a big plus. We saw last week when City went down to Western Utd, I felt like they really lacked those players. And yeah, the likes of Jordan Boss, Scott Galloway in those advanced positions did okay. Florin Berenguer running things. Stefan Kolakowski didn't have too much of an impact in that game, but they will certainly enjoy having these guys back. There's, four fantastic players to bring back. So that'll be making Perth's defenders a little bit concerned heading into this fixture. And of course, potential returns for Sturridge and Fornaroli. And I say potential because, Sturridge, most famously just recently announced publicly that he had COVID. So if those guys are good to go, of course, Fornaroli is well not involved in the midweek game against Western Sydney Wanderers. So potentially the 2-star strikers coming back, which Perth desperately need because, my goodness, they were not at all in the game in an attacking sense against Western Sydney Wanderers during the week. And as well, Perth coming off, of course, that 1-0 loss to Western Sydney Wanderers, which is worth pointing out. And it has been a bit funny for Perth as well because they did manage to get that 2-1 win against Sydney FC. There has been a lot of unpredictable results at the moment across the A-League men's competition, which is why it makes it so exciting to watch. But for my score prediction, I think City should be too strong with those Socceroos coming back. 2-0 for City. Perth Glory, I don't think we'll be able to keep up with them in this game. So that's my preview heading into this weekend. Those are my predictions. As always, we'd love to get your score predictions down in the comments. So jump into the comments, drop your score predictions. Always love seeing what you guys hear. Love seeing when people throw in upsets, like big, massive score lines. So it'll be interesting to see if you've got any upsets on the cards this weekend. And of course, if you want, you can check out the FFA Cup preview, which is a completely separate video, which is on the channel. I'll make sure to link it down in the description if you want to check that out as well. My name's Lockie. This is Coast Watch Football. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure you hit like and hit subscribe if you want to stick around for more content just like this. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy all the football, and I'll see you in the next one.